October 3rd. All right, guys, so I had my first failure. I'm going to call it that for purposes right now. And my first failure was that, yes, I committed to posting every single day. And yesterday I did not. I didn't even think about it. I didn't realize it until I think it was this morning. It was this morning. I was up early. I was focusing, working, thinking about what I was going to be doing for today. And I thought, oh my goodness, I completely blanked on it. I was just had a really busy day yesterday and went from one thing to another, things popping up. And it didn't even cross my mind until this morning. So actually, but this goes right along to what I was talking about the day before with what am I going to focus on and what does that mean and what am I going to do about it? I thought, oh my gosh, this is actually a perfect example, right? Like what am I going to focus on? Am I going to focus on that I failed, or am I going to focus on the actual situation, everything that happened and how it played out? And here's the difference. Like if I failed, I could very easily say like, oh, I failed, so obviously this is not working, or I'm not committed enough and I'm gonna stop. Woo! That would be a failure. That would be the failure, right? I think that's the failure. If I'm like, no, I'm gonna go every day and I miss one day, I didn't fail the whole thing. I did fail to accomplish my daily task. But that doesn't mean that I'm completely derailed and now I should forget about it. I think that's a good one a good analogy to relate to diet, exercise, fitness. Absolutely. Like we say, oh, I'm gonna have this diet, I'm gonna stick to it, and then you have this one day where you get thrown off and you're like, oh my gosh, like is my whole thing done? No, it's not. And I have those kind of days too when it comes to my diet, because I eat in a particular way, and every once in a while I have a day where I'm like, oh, I didn't really follow that. I went off, but I accept that as like, okay, this is part of my, allowance. If I'm too strict, I'll binge, and I don't want to do any type of binging or anything. I want to train myself to be like very good and then allow myself a couple of those fun treats once in a while. So, but the way I'm looking at this situation is like, okay, I need to say, what happened? Why did I miss it? Right? This is a learning opportunity. It's not a failure. It's not a problem. It's an actual real learning opportunity. What was my day like yesterday that I was so busy that I couldn't stop for 5 to 10 minutes and make a quick video and post it? Because it doesn't take that long. I'm not doing any fancy editing. I'm not doing, I'm right here in my classroom. I just set up my camera and I'm just talking to it. So there's really no reason, nothing that should stop me from doing it. And so when I look back at yesterday, I'm like, okay, what happened and why was I miss it? Why did I miss it? The first thing was on Wednesdays, my youngest daughter gets out early and my oldest daughter picks her up, and then I like do a trade-off with her. So at the end of my day, I have that little trade-off happening. Now, normally for me, I don't teach the very last period of my day, but yesterday I did. I got called in last minute to like sub for someone. So I was actually teaching all the way through. And then my wife was texting me saying like, hey, I need you to come home. And then I was on my way home and said, oh, my daughter is here with my other daughter at the school. So I had to go find her. And I go home and we were having a visitor. So I had to do the quick cleanup and help my wife cook, right? And then we had the visitor. And by the time that was over, I had to do some tidying up and clean up. And I tell you what, at that point, I was exhausted. And it was probably 9:15, 9:30. Actually, it was 9:30, 9:45 at night when I was fully done, okay? And I was exhausted. I am not giving myself that out and that excuse. Absolutely not. I could have still done my video right after class like I'm doing right now. School's done. I'm about to go work out, but I'm gonna do my video before that because I don't want to come back after my workout, be tired and use that as an excuse, right? I'm learning. It's so powerful. So I'm like, okay, I had a super busy day. When would have been the opportune time to make a video? Yeah, I'm like, it would have been right after school, right after everyone's done, and before I go work out, before I leave, before I go home. I could have easily done it then. And the reality is what I didn't remember. Okay, so what can I do? Well, I can set a note, an alarm, or something that says, hey, before I, that is ringing, so that as I'm leaving, I'm like, oh, I gotta do it. And I will fit it in if that's the case. This all comes down to, and this is a super great concept that we don't like to think about, because we like to use the phrase, I didn't have time for it, or I don't have time for it, right? Oh, I ran out of time. I've been guilty, very guilty of using that. I ran out of time. I just didn't have time. Let's call it what it is. Call it what it is. I did not make it a priority. And I heard someone talking about this, I forget who, but a priority, and notice I use that in the singular term. I believe it was not Helen Keller, I'm forgetting his first name, but Keller, who wrote the book, The One Thing. And I believe it was him, and he said, priority means the most important thing. There's only one priority. We don't have priorities, because now we split the most important, most valuable thing up amongst several things. And now we just have the to-do list. We have one priority, one thing that we have to focus on and get done, right? And if we focus on that one thing, we will get it done. But when we split up our time, we split up our focus amongst all these other things, it becomes a jumble. It just becomes a to-do list. And if you know anything about the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, 20% of their to-do list will give you 80% of the results. Yes, but oftentimes what we do is we invert our to-do list. Let's say we have 10 things on the to-do list. The top 2 most important things will get us the best and the most desirable results. But what we end up doing is we take those 8 items that don't give us much result, and we end up putting them on top. And we end up going through, and when we get to the bottom, that's when we start running out of time, running out of energy. We forget stuff, and we never do the 2 most important things, because usually we don't want to do those, right? They're the things that we want to do least, or that don't have the most immediate return. We put all the stuff that is sometimes not even important, but maybe has a deadline. If you know from Stephen Covey's 7 Habits, right? He talks about the put first things first. And we oftentimes will fill our lives up with busyness that isn't important at all. And this is a hard one, because like at home, I have to make a choice by doing the important stuff, like for myself, working on my business, building that. I have to sit at my computer. I'm doing stuff. I'm making videos. That's important stuff that does not have a time limit. Like if I don't do it, no one's gonna come knocking on my door, be like, hey, or no one's gonna fire me, right? That's all on me, right? But there are things that are that aren't important, but that kind of have a time limit. Like dishes need to get done so we can have clean dishes to eat off of. Now, eventually, and what I'm working towards is having someone help me with the dishes. That would be the ultimate goal, because for me, doing dishes and doing housework is the ultimate time waster, because I make no money doing that. It does not bring me any joy. Now, I like having the clean house. I like having the clean dishes. I like the result, but the actual act of doing the cleaning of the house that brings me no joy. If I am paying someone to come and do all of that for me, so that I leave in the morning a dirty house, and when I come back in, it's sparkly clean, I receive the same amount of joy that as if I did it all myself. In fact, I receive more joy. So that's a goal for me, because doing the dishes takes away from my important work of building my business. Anyway, I wanted to just share that today. I think it's an important thing. Like, we got to focus on something, and we got to make it a priority. Because yesterday I didn't run out of time. The fact is, I didn't make it the priority to get it done. If I would have made it the priority, not something I got to do and fit in, But the priority, I would have made either my wife wait a few extra minutes for me to get home. I would have made my daughter sit here and be quiet for 10 minutes, and I would have got it done. Whatever the thing is that we want to do, like, we figure out how to do it. It's always true. If we have a hobby that we absolutely love and we make that a priority, we go out and we do it. If it's not a priority, we let it fall to the bottom of our list. And we'll do all this other stuff. And usually, and this is the sad part, usually we're doing all this stuff that is unimportant. It's unimportant. It does not affect our bottom line. It doesn't need to get done and doesn't need to get done by us, but we spend our time on it. It's a frustrating thing. So, there's my language. I'm gonna catch myself right there. It's frustrating, or is it, this is like an opportunity to rearrange a schedule, rearrange what is most important and put that up front so that I can get those things done first. Put first things first. Put the things that increase the bottom line, and I don't just mean financially. The stuff that adds to my life. When I have my list of goals in all the different areas, the priority needs to be stuff that adds to those. That brings me one step closer to my goals. If it's a health goal, then and I have a priority of what I to eat, then that goes on top. Okay? If I have a health goal that I need to exercise every day, that's I have to be fit and strong, then my priority to exercise every day needs to be on top. I make sure I get my workout in. One way or another, I get my workout in. Because it's a massive priority to me in my health area, right? Okay, I'm just saying, like we got you and me. We got to stop saying I ran out of time, and we got to say own responsibility and say I did not make it a priority, because now it's all me. Right now it's all me. If I say it ran out of time, it's not me. Oh, time wasn't on my side. It's not me. It's not me. I couldn't do anything about it. Oh, but if I make it a priority, now it's completely on me. If I didn't do it, I didn't make it a priority, it's all on me. It's actually quite empowering. Like on the outside, when you look at it, you're like, if I don't accept responsibility, then it's my fault. Yes, it is. But that's a good thing. If it's your responsibility and it's your fault, then you can do something about it. It's very empowering, guys. It's very empowering. If I ran out of time, it's not my fault. I can't do anything about it, and therefore I'm stuck. That's actually so disempowering. Yeah, it's actually very, very empowering to be able to say, yes, it's my responsibility and I can do something about it. I dropped the ball, so now I gotta pick it up and run with it. So guys, here I am, I'm posting this video, and because I missed yesterday, this is my yesterday's video, and I'm gonna post another one today because I don't wanna fall behind, and I'm not gonna just let it go by the wayside. Let's go!